Hello my dear students, welcome back once again to this video tutorial. Today we're going to be starting another chapter, that is chapter 9, Measures of Dispersion. In the previous two chapters, that is chapter 7 and chapter 8, we studied about central tendency, right? We studied how to calculate mean, we studied how to calculate median, quartile and mode. Now, in this chapter, chapter 9, now most of the time, the measures of central tendency, that is basically mean and median, they do not reveal how values are dispersed, that is how values are scattered or spread, okay, on each side of the central values. Therefore, it is always good to understand or to know the variation or the spread of values between the two values. Now, in order to make sure that those values are not misleading, we calculate the measures of dispersion. And there are two, it is mainly categorized into two. Okay, the first one is absolute dispersion. The first one is absolute measures and the second one is relative measures. So before we go ahead and calculate the practical questions, we will be understanding some formulas on how to calculate. Okay, and after that, one by one, we will start solving the textual questions as well as the examples in the textbook. Now, as I said, there are four. It is classified into two categories. The measures of dispersion is classified into two categories. The first one is absolute measures. And the second one is relative measures. So here, in absolute measures, there are range, the first thing. We have to calculate range. The second one is quartile deviation. The third one is mean deviation. And the fourth one is standard deviation. Okay, so these are the four absolute measures of dispersion. Absolute measures here. The range, quartile deviation, mean deviation and standard deviation. Clear? In relative measures, we will be finding the coefficient of all these absolute measures. So therefore, we can say, and under this, that is relative measures, coefficient. Relative measures is also called coefficient. Okay, coefficient of range, coefficient of mean deviation, coefficient of quartile deviation. We can just write QD. The third one is coefficient of mean deviation, MD, and the fourth one is coefficient of variation. Coefficient of variation. Okay, so here, one by one, we will be studying. If we're studying range, absolute measures, we'll also be studying the coefficient of range. When we study quartile deviation, we'll study coefficient of quartile as well. Mean deviation, coefficient of mean deviation, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. So the reason why we're doing like this is because it will be confusing for you if we first calculate all the absolute measures and then learn how to calculate relative measures, because the formula is not that different. All right, so these are the topics that we'll be discussing in this chapter. Clear? So in the next the first one, we will be calculating, or we will learn how to calculate range. And remember, in all these absolute measures also, there are individual series, discrete series, and continuous series, and also the formulas for all the series are different. Not very different, but then there's a slight difference in all the formulas. Okay, and I hope you all remember how we calculated mean, median, and quartile in the previous chapters. So we'll be using those formulas as well. Okay, and it is this chapter. It is quite easy, except for standard deviation. It is not. It's not that difficult, but then a little complicated than what we learned in the previous two chapters. All right. So in this video, I will be discussing about range and quartile deviation. In the next two videos, I will discuss about mean deviation and standard deviation. Clear? So let's start. The first one is, as I said, range. Now, how do we calculate range? Now, when we say range, the simplest measure of dispersion is range. Okay, this is the simplest measure of dispersion, and it is very easy to calculate. So the formula to calculate range is, we can just write R, range, is equal to L minus S. Now, L here stands for largest value. Okay, that is the L, largest value, and S stands for smallest value. So in a series, for example, this is individual series. Okay, you have some numbers here, a set of numbers. So just say 25, 30, 14, 57, 60, 22, and 40. Yeah, and one more, just say 20. Now, out of this, you have to decide, you have to observe which one is the highest value. So if we look here, 60 is the highest value, right? So you can write here L is equal to 60 and S is equal to, the lowest is 20. Sorry, 14. Right? So now how do we calculate range now? R is equal to L minus S, that is 60 minus 14. How much will it be? 46. So your range value is 46. Okay, this is how we calculate range in individual series. Now, I also told you that while we're discussing how to calculate absolute measures, we'll also be discussing how to calculate relative measures as well. So when we say relative, we're talking about coefficient. So coefficient of range, the formula for coefficient of range, what is it? So it is L minus S, L plus S. So whatever value that you get here, so L minus S, I'm taking this example once again, okay? L minus S, so 60 minus 14 divided by 60 plus 14. So if you do this one, 60 minus 14, it is 46, and 60 plus 14, how much do you get? 60, 70, 74. Now you have to divide this one, and whatever value that you get, it will be your coefficient of range value. So if you divide 46 by 74, you get 0.62. Okay, 0.62. So this is your range value, coefficient of range. That is the relative measures. Okay, so this is how we calculate range in individual series. Clear? Next, we will talk about, in your textbook, it is mainly given in just two series, that is individual series and continuous series. So we will learn one more, that is how to calculate range in continuous series. Next. We're still talking about range only, okay? So here, continuous series. Here. So let's say 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. Let's say this one is our series. Let's put up frequency, say 5, 9, 6, 4, 2, and 8. So this is our frequency. Now how do we calculate range in this case? The formula remains the same, that is L minus S. So here, while calculating range in continuous series, you have to look in the class interval. The highest class interval is 70, right? So you write L is equal to 70 and the lowest is 10. So S is equal to 10. Now put this in a formula. Range is equal to L minus S, that is 70 minus 10, which is equal to 60. So this is your range value. Now if you calculate your coefficient of range, so coefficient of range, formula L minus S, L plus S. So again similarly 70 minus 10, 70 plus 10, 60 by 80. So if you do this one, how much do you get? 0. How much? You will get 0.75. Okay. So this is your range, coefficient of range value. So this is how we calculate range. Clear? So let us do one question from the practical. And I want you to open page number 293. Clear? 293. So we're going to solve question number 1. Page number 293. So in the question it says, find the range and coefficient of range for the following observation. Here, the values are given 65, 70, 82. Let me just write it down. 65, 70, 82, 59, 81, 76, 57, 60, 55, and 50. Okay, so from here you have to observe which one is the highest value. The highest value is 82, right? So L is equal to 82. And S, which one is the lowest value here? So the lowest value here is 50, right? So now range is equal to L minus S, that is 82 minus 50. So 50, 60, 70, 80, that is 32. So your range value is 32. Okay, clear? Now we also have to find out the coefficient. That is a relative measure. Coefficient of range is equal to L minus S, L plus S. So 82 minus 50 by 82 plus 50. So if you do this one, 82 minus 50, you got 32. If you add this one up, 80, 90, 100, 132. So you have to divide 32 divided by 132. So 32 divided by 132 will give you 0.24. Okay, 0.24. So this is your relative measure. 0.24 is the answer. Clear? So this is question number 1. Now, I hope you're all clear with this, because most of you have attended my online class and we're already, we're done with these topics mostly. And this is for those students, those who are home and you're not able to connect with us in our online class for whatever the reason. So I want you all to watch this tutorial and solve these questions. Clear? So this is question number 1. Now let's also try to solve question number 2. Question number 2. Now question number 2 is given in continuous series. Clear? So if you look here, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and 80 to 90. And you have the frequency also given here. I'm so sorry with the lining. Let me just use this. Alright, so let's write down the frequency given here. 4, 6, 12, 14, 18, 20, 25, 32, and 36. So this is the frequency. Now, range, you have to understand, you have to look for the highest value from the class interval, that is from this values. Okay, so the highest value here is 90. So we can write here, I'm just going to write it down here. So L is equal to 90 and S is equal to the lowest value here. 0, you cannot count 0 as the lowest value because it is null, right? So here the lowest value is 10. So you take 10 as your lowest value. So range is equal to L minus S. That is 90 minus 10, which is equal to 80. So 80 is your range value. Now you also have to calculate the coefficient of range. So I'm going to calculate this coefficient of range here, this side. All right. So coefficient of range. I want you to write properly. Okay, I'm just writing it here and there. So please write your answer properly. So coefficient of range formula is L minus S divided by L plus S. So here L minus S, that is 90 minus 10 divided by 90 plus 10. 90 minus 10 is 80. 90 plus 10 is 100. So if you do this one, you will get 0.8 as your answer. So this is your coefficient of range. Are we all clear? So I think the video is going to be too long if we make another add up another absolute measure, that is quartile. So I'm going to make another video for quartile. Clear? So far I hope you're all clear with how to calculate range, because this is the easiest. If you don't understand how to do this, it's going to be very tough for you for the other absolute measures. Okay? So it is very easy. Go through the tutorial, understand, and then do it yourself in the practical question. Clear? Alright, so I'm going to leave you all with one homework, that is question number 12. So question number 12. Question number 12 from page 295. Question number 12 is your homework. Okay? Is your homework. And I wanted to correct here one thing, that is the answer coefficient of range in the textbook, it is given 0.174. Clear? So if you're getting something else number, 0.714. So this is the right answer. Okay, and this is wrong. So therefore, please correct this one in your textbook. In your textbook, it is given 0.174. However, your answer should be 0.714. If you get 0.714, that means your answer is correct. Clear? So this is it for today. I'll see you and I'll be making another tutorial. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Clear? Take care.